Welcome to my new Blender course. In this step-by-step beginner-friendly series, we'll create this true-to-scale minifigure replica using precision modeling techniques. Now let's dive into part 3, precision modeling the hips. Before we start, let's hide the torso mesh. On View Layer, click here to hide in Viewport. Now let's create the hips. But before that, press Shift+C to reset the 3D cursor. Press Shift+A to add, go to Mesh, and create a mesh plane. Now let's set the size of this plane. On the Transform panel, set the X dimension to 14.2 mm and the Y dimension to 7.8 mm. Now press Ctrl+A and apply scale. On Modifiers, add Modifier, Generate, and add a Solidify modifier. Set thickness to 2.15 mm and the offset to -1. To apply the modifier, press Ctrl+A. Now let's round these 4 corners. Press Tab to go to Edit Mode and enable Edge Selection. Hold Ctrl+Alt, select this edge ring, press Ctrl+B to bevel, and Enter to confirm. Set width to 0.2 mm and segments to 4. Press Tab to exit Edit Mode, F2 to rename, and rename it Hips. Now let's create the round cut. Press Shift+A to add, and create a mesh cylinder. Set vertices to 64, radius to 7.25 mm divided by 2, depth to 20 mm, the Z location to -4.9 mm, and the Y rotation to 90 degrees. Select the hips, go to Modifiers, add Modifier, Generate, and add a Boolean modifier. Set it to Difference, and select the cylinder object. Now press Ctrl+A to apply the modifier, and delete the cylinder mesh. The base mesh for the hips is complete. Now create a series of Boolean meshes. Press Shift+A to add and create a mesh circle. Set vertices to 64, radius to 7 mm divided by 2, the Z location to -4.9 mm, and the Y rotation to 90 degrees. As I'll need reference from the hips to snap some vertices, Shift-select the hips and go to Edit Mode. Here I'll extrude some vertices from the hips to create 2 edges. Select these 2 vertices here, press E to extrude, Z to lock the axis, type -1, and Enter to confirm. Press Shift+Tab to enable snap, and Shift+Ctrl+Tab to set it to edge. Select this vertex here, press G 2 times to do a vertex slide, hover the mouse over the edge we've created, and left-click to confirm. Select this vertex here, press G 2 times to do a vertex slide, hover the mouse over the edge we've created, and left-click to confirm. Now disable snap, select these 15 vertices here, and press X to delete. Select these 2 vertices here, press E to extrude, Z to lock the axis, type 1.5, and Enter to confirm. To finish, select this edge loop, and press F to create a new face. Press Tab to exit Edit Mode, select the circle mesh, and go to Modifiers. Add Modifier, Generate, and add a Solidify modifier. Set thickness to 1.55 mm, offset to 0, and press Ctrl+A to apply the modifier. Now press F2 to rename, and rename it HipSet01. Let's set the 3D cursor to this mesh position. With the HipSet01 selected, press Shift+S to snap, and select Cursor to selected. Press Shift+A to add, and create a mesh cylinder. Set vertices to 32, radius to 1 mm, depth to 6.4 mm, and the Y rotation to 90 degrees. Now press F2 to rename, and rename it HipSet02. With the HipSet02 selected, press Tab to go to Edit Mode, and Alt+Z to enable X-ray. Select this edge loop, press Shift+S to snap, and select Cursor to selected. Now disable X-ray and exit Edit Mode. Press Shift+A to add and create a mesh circle. Set vertices to 32, radius to 0.8 mm, and the Y rotation to 90 degrees. Press Tab to go to Edit Mode, select this top middle vertex, and press Ctrl++ 5 times to select more. Now press X to delete and select vertices. Select this bottom middle vertex and press Ctrl++ 2 times to select more. Press E to extrude, Z to lock the axis, type -0.4, and Enter to confirm. Now select these 3 vertices here and press X to delete. Let's fill these faces and extrude. Press A to select all and F to create a new face. Press E to extrude, X to lock the axis, type -1.1 and enter to confirm. Enable X-ray, select these 4 vertices here, press G to grab, Z to lock the axis, type 0.4 and enter to confirm. To finish this mesh, exit Edit Mode and go to Modifiers. Add Modifier, Generate, add a Mirror modifier and select the Hips on Mirror object. Now apply the modifier, press F2 to rename and rename it HipSet03. Press Shift+C to reset the 3D cursor. Now press Shift+A to add and create a mesh plane. Set the size to 4.8mm, the X location to -4mm and the Z location to 4.8mm. Press Tab to go to Edit Mode, Shift+Ctrl+B to Vertex Bevel and enter to confirm. Set width to 1.4mm, segments to 8 and profile shape to 0.175. Press Tab to exit Edit Mode and go to Modifiers. Add Modifier, Generate, add a Solidify modifier and set thickness to 4.9mm to extrude a bit inside the torso. Add Modifier, Generate, add a Mirror modifier and select the Hips on Mirror object. Now apply all modifiers, press F2 to rename and rename it HipSet04. Let's create a diagonal cut for this mesh. Press Shift+A to add and create a single vert. Press G to grab, X to lock the axis, type -6.4 and enter to confirm. Press G to grab, Z to lock the axis, type 1 and enter to confirm. With this vertex selected, press Shift+S to snap and select Cursor to selected. Press E to extrude, Z to lock the axis, type 5 and enter to confirm. To create an angle here, make sure the transform pivot point is set to the 3D cursor. Now press R to rotate, Y to lock the axis, type 9.85 and enter to confirm. For less, press A to select all, E to extrude, X to lock the axis, type -2 and enter to confirm. Now exit Edit Mode and go to Modifiers. Add Modifier, Generate, add a Solidify modifier and set the offset to 0. Add Modifier, Generate and add a Mirror modifier. Now apply both modifiers, press F2 to rename and rename it HipSub01. Now let's create the hole inside the shape. Select the HipSet04, go to Edit Mode and enable X-ray. Select these top vertices, press Shift+S to snap and select Cursor to selected. Exit Edit Mode and X-ray, press Shift+A to add and create a mesh cylinder. Set vertices to 32, radius to 3mm divided by 2 and depth to 4.8mm multiplied by 2. On Modifiers, add Modifier, Generate, add a Mirror modifier and select the Hips on Mirror object. Now apply the modifier, press F2 to rename and rename it HipSub02. Now we need to create 2 collections for the Boolean meshes, one to add and one to subtract. Select all 4 HipSet meshes, press M to move to collection, click New Collection and rename it HipSet. Select both HipSub meshes, press M to move to collection, click New Collection and rename it HipSub. And uncheck both to exclude them from View Layer. Now select the hips and go to Modifiers. Add Modifier, Generate and add a Boolean modifier. Set it to Union, operand type to Collection and select the HipSet collection. Add Modifier, Generate and add a Boolean modifier. Set it to Difference, operand type to Collection and select the HipSub collection. To finish, let's apply both Boolean modifiers and clean the mesh. Just remember to save a new file before applying. Press Ctrl+A to apply both modifiers and Tab to go to Edit Mode. Press A to select all, M to merge by distance and set Merge Distance to 0.01. Now exit Edit Mode, right mouse and select Shade Auto Smooth. And with that we've finished part 3. The next one will be part 4, Modeling the legs. If you're still here, it means you are liking the content of this course. This took me a lot of time and planning to make it, so please consider subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it and leave a comment. It's fast, simple and most important, it's free. Thanks a lot for watching and see you on the next one. Bye bye.